Hello, my friends. Today I want to talk to you a little about Chinese mass-produced handpans. And this is a really hotly contested topic. What made me think of this actually is that somebody posted yet another one for sale on the swap and sale page and were just eviscerated by people in the comments section because they didn't know how to play it and they were playing it with mallets. And it happens all the time where people are posting these things for sale because they got it and they don't really know how to play it, or they got it and then they heard that it was a bad quality instrument, so they want to sell it and get something else. But I just want to talk a little bit about why people dislike them and what the arguments for against cheaper handpans are. And there are quite a few, obviously, but I think it's important for prospective buyers to know why there's some disdain for that. So let's take a look. So one of the primary things that people bring up as a counterpoint against cheaper handpans are the issues with tuning and stability, and also longevity of the shaping and quality of the sound. Because most of the Chinese handpans on Amazon are sold by resellers, there's very few quality control checks happening. So the hope with a more expensive instrument is that the maker is taking the time to really stabilize an instrument and make sure what they send to you is representative of their quality as a whole. This doesn't always happen in practice, but you're more at risk buying an instrument that you don't hear before it's sent to you than you are buying from somebody that is directly communicating with you and you can kind of have a dialogue with about the stability, what they would like you to do for care, and things of that matter. Chinese Amazon handpans are typically resold from broader distributors, and this includes places like Astamin and Tack Drum. Pretty much all of the online Amazon brands are from a series of companies that are rebranding. Novapans as well are rebranding instruments. That's not inherently bad. The secret that all the well-known handpan players in the world, like myself, forget sometimes is that we all started on bad instruments. Many of us had Bali steel, some of us had Orbipans, some of us had DB handpans, and this is not knocking those makers because a lot of them have improved now. But we all started on an instrument that was subpar, and back then, even to buy a barely tuned trash can of a handpan, it was $1,500 or more because they were in such high demand. So being able to get an instrument for under $1,000 that's in tune and seemingly stable, I understand the attraction of that for people. So no one should feel bad about making that choice, particularly if they're uninformed and you've heard the handpan for the first time on TikTok or Instagram. Don't feel bad about that. Don't get upset that you made that choice. It's a learning experience and you can learn on anything. As long as it has some semblance of the notes, you can learn. I did. Many other handpan players did as well. If you have purchased an instrument like that and you feel like you want to sell it and upgrade to something else, you'll likely receive criticism in the handpan swap and sale pages. And this is for a variety of reasons. Like I said before, many people who've been playing a long time started on not so great instruments. And it's kind of the annoyance at the post in those places is not so much towards you, but it's them remembering how obnoxious it was to have a poor quality instrument to start with. But it's never really presented in a very appropriate and kind way. So I will preemptively apologize for any of the drama or rudeness that people present there. They're trying to save other people from going through that hassle, and when people post one for sale, they're hoping that other people don't fall into that trap. That said, I want to talk a little bit about what you can expect from a cheaper instrument. So to sum everything we've done up, I wanted you to be aware that A, don't feel bad if you heard a handpan, you loved it, and wanted to get one right away and you found one that was a reasonable price and purchased it. You'll probably be able to learn on that instrument and get started. Even if it's not your ideal instrument, even if people have said, oh, that's a piece of junk, you shouldn't have purchased that, don't feel bad. It's hard to find the resources immediately, and it took all of us in the handpan world a little bit to find a quality instrument too. So we all learned on, or not we all, we mostly all learned on not so great instruments to start. And then as we grew and became better players and had more money, we were able to afford other instruments. Second, the issue with Chinese instruments isn't even that they're made on a large scale, because there are makers now, even in California, that are making tons of instruments a year, tons and tons of instruments. And it's more the quality control that's the issue. So again, I happen to have a couple Chinese instruments that are very high quality, or at least tolerable quality in the case of this one. But that doesn't mean everyone is representative of that quality. So you don't have a person to directly communicate with to talk about your concerns or talk about why you're not satisfied with the product. So it makes it a little bit harder to reach out for help. Also, if you are having trouble with an instrument, I think asking questions is a good place to start, but expect some rudeness from the handpan community, because a lot of people are jaded about the sudden increase of handpans in the world and the sudden increase of lower quality handpans in the world. But things are finding their balance of homeostasis. There's going to be a place for makers of high quality instruments, makers of special instruments. There's also going to be a place for the Fender Squier equivalents of handpans. And until we find that balance, because this sudden interest has really exploded in the last 3 or 4 years, I'd say, and the availability suddenly has appeared for all of these. Until we find that balance, there's going to be a lot of tension between, this instrument's good, this instrument's good, or horrible, depending on what people think. But use your ear to decide if you like something. Just because someone's saying something loudly does not mean that it's true. Everybody has an opinion, including myself, but I think I'm pretty neutral in a lot of my views on handpans. I can play any instrument and make it sound okay, and that's a skill. Maybe 30%, Nadeshana had a good quote, but I'm summarizing it, but the musician is the thing that's giving life to the instrument. You're putting your energy into this creation. So even if it's a subpar instrument, that doesn't mean you can't pull something beautiful from it if that's what you have to work with. So don't feel guilty. Continue to do your research and understand where people who are being critical of you posting this for sale may have come from, because they may have gone through the same thing. And you could just remind them that you're new in the community and you're just learning just like they did. So I'll put some makers that I work with below. Places I'm sponsored in partnership with Rebranded Handpan, who's a fantastic maker in Brazil. Sonido de Mano, who's a fantastic person and creator in Italy. Rav Vast as well, they're great makers. I support Luna Handpans, Godin Handpans. The list goes on. Aura Handpans, they're fantastic. Colin Folks instruments are really, really nice. It all comes down to sound. And the ultimate thing that you need to look for is something that you resonate with, that's in your price range. But, you have the choice of whether you want to save up if you really don't have the money for it, which I didn't when I first started to play. I didn't have the money to spend $1,500 on a handpan, so I got what I could afford at the time. You can make the choice whether you're going to wait and get something later on if you're able to put money away, or if you really want to start learning, you accept that you might not get the highest quality instrument, but you'll have something to start on. So the choice is really yours, and I'm obviously not supporting or denying any particular maker here, but the choice is yours, and don't let other people put you down if you started there, because all of us started in a similar position. So love you guys, appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, so here are 3 separate instruments. I want you to choose the one you like the sound of the most and write either 1, 2, or 3 in the comments section before you finish this video. Here we go. last but not least, here's instrument number 3. Here's a comparison just walking up the scale. This is 1. Here's 2. And here's 3. Let me know what you think down below.